Yo, what's up? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, the returning champion, IFBB PRO Matt Brutale. And today, what we're going to be talking about is something that I really don't talk about often enough on the Meathead on the Mic podcast. And that, guys and girls, is competing. Okay, competing. And not in the sense that, like, I don't talk about myself competing. I always give you guys and girls my stories, some of the adversity that I went through, some of the great things that I went through with competing. But I never really actually talk about, in your perspective, how it might be, especially if you want to compete for the first time. So in this episode, what I'm going to be doing is giving y'all basic information that you'll need in order to compete. And then also we're going to be diving into sort of the perspective of, if you even should compete, why you should compete, and or all the variables that you might have to consider when it comes to competing. All right. So with that said, if you have any questions throughout this episode, as usual, drop the comments as we go along. At the very end, I'll try my best to answer as many of them as possible. Also, if you're watching this now, hashtag replay or hashtag I'm here or hashtag I'm replay if you're watching this as a replay and you didn't catch this live, which is cool. All right. So with that said, without out the way, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into today's podcast episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yo, what's good, meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day, and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, the returning champion, IFBB Pro, Matt Brutale, and today, what we're going to be talking about is competing. This is something that I bring up a lot, but not necessarily in the perspective of those that are new, that want to compete for the first time, that have never competed in bodybuilding, okay? In classic physique, in men's physique, in going on the stage and presenting your physique. This is the episode that you need to listen to if you have absolutely no idea as to how to start, the things that you have to get ready for, the expenses, all of that. When it comes to competing, we're going to be breaking that down, and then at the very end we are going to be talking about perspectives and if you even should be competing. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is compete. Okay, we're not going to talk about if you should or if you shouldn't right now, but we'll say you want to compete. Okay, and you're a guy, of course. Even if you're a girl and you want to compete, you sort of know which division that you want to get into, right? So you've seen, on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube, your favorite influencers, they're competing, they're winning, they're losing, or whatever it is. It inspires you and it makes you want to compete. So you decide you want to compete. And so if you are a first timer, if you are a newcomer, what are some things that you have to be ready for, or some things that you need to anticipate when it comes to getting ready for your first show? So let's talk about the administrative stuff first, and then we'll talk about the actual application of practice when it comes to getting ready, like prepping and the dieting and what you might expect there. So let's talk about the admin stuff first, because believe it or not, this is something that most, if not even most, all, including myself, bodybuilders or athletes that started competing didn't even really know and kind of found out along the way, unfortunately, because there's no real I think now they're doing a great job with it with the websites, but there was no real layout as to what you should do. A couple of years ago when you're an amateur starting, you sort of just had to have a coach that knew it and then did all that stuff for you or helped you do it and told you what you needed to hear, and then helped you move on. But so the first thing you need to consider here, guys and girls, if you want to compete for the very first time as an amateur, at least in, we'll say, the North America, right? Canadian Physique Alliance, or NPC, the National Physique Committee, which is the equivalent of the CPA in the States, or whatever equivalent would be in the UK, that is IFBB Pro League sanctioned. The rules are, as an amateur, you're going to go and you're going to have to buy your membership card as an amateur. So there's an amateur membership card depending on whichever division that you're competing in, whether it's CPA, Canadian Physique Alliance, NPC, National Physique Committee, that's basically Canada and US, and then UK has their own. But you're going to have to buy a membership card. Now, the price for this membership card varies, right? It's about, when I started competing, it was about $100. Now I think it's about 150 or 125. I'm not too sure. But that's the first thing you need before you even think about competing, because you cannot compete without that membership card. The second thing you need to do is solidify your commitment. And this comes in many forms, many ways, shapes, and forms, right? The first thing I would do is to make sure that months and months and months ahead of the show that I'm going to be competing at, that I make sure I book my show. Okay. And what does that mean? Well, so once you get your membership card, you can go on the website, whether it's NPC or whether it's a CPA website, and then you pick the show. Okay. And once you select that show, you book that show. Okay. And once you book it, it depends on the pricing for the show. It varies every year, it changes. But it's about $300 to $400 per class, and then maybe an extra $100 for tanning, because you do need to have, an on-site spray tanner to make sure that you don't wash out under the lights, so the judges can see the details that you work so hard to present. So there's the tanning, and basically the admin fee that you're going to need in order to get on stage. But you're also going to need that membership card to be able to even book that show. So membership card, you book the show, right? You pay for it, you book your tanning, right? You hire a seamstress, or you go online and you order a specific posing trunks, depending on whichever division that you're in. If you're in men's physique, then you're going to need the appropriate shorts for that. And classic physique, you're going to need the appropriate shorts for that, or trunks. And then the same would go for bodybuilding and even women's bikini, wellness, so on and so forth. Hire a seamstress way beforehand and have them anticipate you on that show day, because they'll be able to pick out the colors you like, the fabrics, the materials, and you'll have a lot of time to even alter the equipment that you're going to be wearing on stage, whether it's your posing trunks or your, as a woman, your bra and your, the whole thing, bikini. You will have that time that you need and the information that you'll need in order to make last minute changes, because again, your body is cutting up and getting leaner and tighter and smaller as you get ready for the show. So to have a seamstress on hand is just, you need that, right? So that if your posing trunks don't fit the same way, you go up to them, or they're there with you on site on your show day, they can tweak it up for you 5 minutes and it fits perfect. So you'll need a seamstress. These are things that, like, I invested in when I started competing, and I still do as I go along. Okay. And if y'all don't know of any seamstresses, hit me up. I've got one. She can deal with you if you're in Canada. I think she does the whole North America now. Her name is Crystal Creations. So if you need a seamstress, hit me up. I'll go connect you with her. She's great. She's done most of my posing trunks, and every time she does it, I win. So definitely, you want to reach out to a good seamstress to make sure you get a great fit for whatever posing equipment that you're going to be wearing on stage, right? You want to present yourself in the best possible way. So there's those few things: the membership card, okay, your booking for your competition in advance, you're booking for your tanning in advance, and your seamstress. Okay, those are like the four main expenses when it comes to just being ready for the show. Now, outside of that, we can really look at taking it another level deeper and hiring, a posing coach, because if you've never been on stage before, chances are you don't even know how to pose, and that's completely normal. That happens. That's literally everybody. And myself, I had a posing coach. I've hired posing coaches in the past as well, and I will continue to do the same in the future. Why? Because A, it's beneficial, and B, you can never learn too much. And so if you're going on stage for the first time, you're going to need a posing coach, someone that could actually teach you not only just how to look good in the mirror or how to look good hitting a pose, but what to expect when it comes to presenting on stage, like the nerves you might feel being with the other athletes being compared, and what it means to be switched around in certain positions, and endurance, how to actually have that stage presence that is just like unfaltering, that doesn't fold, right? So those skills you're going to have to develop. And posing is a skill. It's not like as easy as it looks like on Instagram. You strike a pose, take a picture. No, it's literally an isometric workout, and you will sweat boatloads of water, you know, mastering or perfecting your craft when it comes to posing. So do not take it lightly. If you are competing for the very first time, I would recommend strongly that you hire a posing coach as well, and you practice posing at least during prep at the end of every single workout. Okay, because you're going to need that foundation, because you're going to start vibrating on stage and like sweating really hard, getting out of breath, losing your composure, all because you didn't practice posing with somebody that could really teach you what you should be expecting on stage. Does that make sense? Okay. So that would be another expense, right? Again, everyone has their own rates for posing coaches. I just would recommend going to, an actual IFBB pro. Doesn't have to be me. I hired one back way before I was even pro, and he's freaking amazing. His name is Antoine Hamlet. All right. So I think his Instagram is the official high top Hamlet. So shout out to him. I usually, the athletes of the Natural Nomad Academy would go pose with him, and in the respective division, right? And, he's got this nice setup there with the mirrors and all that stuff. It's really good. There's also Fidel Clark. He's also I believe, a retired IFBB pro. Great for posing. Got a great studio as well. And these are based in Canada, Ontario specifically. So again, this is case specific, but look around. You might find seminars that are local to you that you'll have judges which are sanctioned by whichever organization that you compete in, that will be, again, hosting seminars and teaching you guys, the amateurs, and even the vets and the intermediates, how to pose and what they're looking for in certain divisions and what to expect and so on and so forth, and the criteria that you have to meet and all that. And basically just the entire behind the scenes when it comes to the judges, which also reminds me, and this is a little bit after you do your first show, you, the competitor, should always, always, always go to the judge after your show and ask them what you could improve on, why you placed where you placed, and overall what their opinion is of your physique. And then you can take that to either yourself or your coach. And then you guys can also add that to your repertoire when it comes to creating your game plan. And the reason why I say ask the judges is because they see you on that day. They're the reason why you placed where you placed. So if you go up to them and you don't ask them for feedback, even if you won, then you're really missing out on a great piece, like a great key. Like, that's a lot of information you don't want to be throwing out. And I've noticed a lot of amateurs just, when they're done with the show, just teleport, just leave. Whereas, the ones that really succeed would hang around for a little bit, maybe socialize, become a little bit more immersed in the fitness industry, with the venues that are there and stuff like that. It's somewhat of an exhibition every show, and then they wait to see a judge that they know is on the panel, or just any judge, any official, and they ask, hey, did you see me, or what could I have improved on, da 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 da. Now it's even getting better with technology, and you can actually buy packages, not just like photo packages, for your when you go on stage, which I would recommend because it's timeless, but there are also video packages that, depending on what organization you're in, they'll offer you. Basically, it's essentially a judge critique. So if you don't have the time, or you don't feel like waiting for the judges to hop on a break after you present yourself on stage, and you just want to go home and eat, then you can purchase that depending on which division that you're in. They will be able to offer you some sort of video criticism that I think would be very beneficial for you, especially if you are a first-time competitor. But this is something I would recommend to do every single show, so that you know what you're going to do in the off season. Right? It sort of gives you that extra ammo that you need. All right. So there's that. And now we sort of wrap that up. Okay. You're going to get your membership card. All right. You're going to book your show. You're going to book your tanning, which you do need. Don't cheap out on that shit. Right. And for women, they have tanning, makeup, and hair and all that stuff. And it's different for you. You're going to get a seamstress for your posing equipment. All right. Both men and women, and have them sort of actively in the background, so that when you do get tighter or leaner, they're customize your stage gear, for the lack of a better term, to fit your body 100% smooth. Okay, then you got the picture packages, which I would always recommend you get. You don't have to, but again, it's timeless, and especially if it's your first time on stage, you should definitely invest in that. And last but not least, the audits, where the judges, usually a president or a head judge or a top judge on the panel, will critique you through a video, because usually they have live streams nowadays with the shows, and they'll show your segment and audit it, and give you their opinion on what you might need to improve on, what was good, all the whole nine, right? So those are the core things that you have to understand and just get a grip around, and that's something you're going to be doing every single show. Okay, and also let's not forget the pose coaching, because you need to have that stage presence. Looking good enough just isn't enough. Okay, you got to know how to pose, which brings us to the second thing here, and that's sort of the process, the prep, and getting ready. So again, I'm not going to spend too much time here, because this is case dependent. Not everybody is going to react the same way during a prep. And first of all, not everybody is even competing in the same division. So the requirements of the level of conditioning that is required for each and every single athlete varies, whether they're man or woman, bodybuilding, men's physique, classic, or whatever it is, 212. They have their own sort of metrics and standard. They have to sort of abide by, and the judges wants to judge them and please by. You got the benchmark or whatever, then the placings and rankings fall back. And so I'm not going to get too specific with what prep is in terms of when you're getting ready for a show, but it's actually disciplining yourself. Time close to the show, you become more disciplined. But even worse, it gets even harder to become more disciplined, because you're depleted, you're so hungry, you're so thirsty, you have energy. You're going to be harder than you ever had, doing more cardio than you ever have, or at least you should be. Well, then again, that's the difference between winners and losers. And so once you get to that point, you'll be ready to compete. But I'm bringing up this, even though I'm not giving you all the information about it, because it's very, very, very nuanced and case specific. Prep is not easy. And if you think that you can go through a bodybuilding prep, but you struggle with, dealing with food cravings, you need to like look yourself in the mirror because there's no way you'd survive. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm not saying that to say that I don't believe in you. Like, I believe in you. If you want to, it is not a walk in the park. This is not like losing 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 3 pounds of fat. Okay. Because you're also hyper emphasizing the fact that you want to be building muscle at the same time, right? So that you're improving your package. By the time you get to stage, you look like $1 million. It's not about just hitting a number on the scale and making weight. It's not, it's like you can you can prep 5 years straight and get to 170 pounds per se, or 150 pounds, or whatever it is, and look different each and every single time because of how you prepped, right? So it's that sort of mindset you have to approach. It's almost unforeseen. You don't even know how you're going to look until you know how you're going to look, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I hit this weight and I'm going to win this show now. I'm the top of the weight class, so I'm going to win." No, it doesn't work that way. And I've tried that. I've tried that. I've tried to be just the guy at the top of the weight class, and it doesn't just always work that way because the way that the muscle, the fat to water is distributed on your physique varies. Okay, so that's the prep about part. That's the part about prep. Tongue twister, right? So last but not least, guys, let's talk about it. You came and probably clicked this episode for this. The question is, so you want to compete? Now we have the information as to what you might need in order to compete, what you might expect, and the difficulty level of preparing for a show. That's just the dieting down part, not even the off season where you're growing intentionally, which is the polar opposite, and equally, if not just a bit more difficult than cutting. We can talk about, should you compete or not? Should you compete or not? And now the answer to that question is very simple. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. But what I'm going to say is this: if you want to compete only because you see Chris Bumstead on Instagram and YouTube and it looks cool, if you only want to compete because, you fuck for whatever reason, you just want to like feel cool, I compete, I'm doing the thing that's trendy. If you want to compete for any other reason than the fact that you love bodybuilding, classic physique, whatever division it is, then you can go compete, but you're not going to last. Okay. And I'm not saying that to be pessimistic, but like look at it with anything in life. People that truly have a passion for whatever it is that they do never stop doing it. And as a result of that, they become either one of the among the best of the group, or you just know like they'll never quit forever. And even though they might not be the best of the group, they're fucking close because they're always trying and they're always there. And it's not, doesn't matter if they win, doesn't matter if they lose, because they're just gonna be there competing because they love this shit and they're so passionate about it that they would do it for free. And that's the line here, bro. That's the line, girls. If you would do this shit for free, for no attention on social media, for $0 and 0 cents, and you would still diet down to get to that super godly shredded physique and go super high up in the off season by putting on as much tissue as you can, and you love that process and you do it every single year and you would do it for free for the rest of your life if you never got paid and no one ever noticed, then you should compete. Because that way, losing wouldn't fucking matter. And it wouldn't be so tied to your emotional like confidence, right? Like losing and so the people that do this for the fame, the people that do this that just want to hop on juice, get swole super quick and get fucking YouTube video views and clicks and all that. The people that do that, number one, they don't really last very long in the sport because most of them usually don't turn pro because it's like usually a fad for them and they realize, oh, I'm not winning, so fucking beating, blah blah blah. I'm gonna do something else in my life. So they'll live it forever, regardless. Thing is, like when you're looking at it, not everybody, and this is something my old coach told me once. My first coach told me this. He says, everybody loves bodybuilding, but bodybuilding doesn't love everybody. So you could really love the sport, really want to compete in it, have a great structure, have a great coach, but your genetics just aren't for bodybuilding. And I'm not saying this to discourage you, but I'm also telling you this because it's very real. And I hate to see when people are like, oh, just compete, just compete, just compete. And these people are tying their worth to competing, and then they start to lose and they feel bad about themselves and they're competing for the wrong reasons. It's like, you know what I mean? This is why I'm having the conversation today. I've seen people think less of themselves or completely demonize bodybuilding or completely demonize looking healthy, looking good, i.e., fat phobia culture, whatever the fuck you want to call that, right? And they're like that because they tie their visual, like the way they look, right, to their self-esteem and everything that they sort of represent in terms of their identity, and that's not cool. It's partially going to exist if you already are a bodybuilder, like it's just what it is. But if that's the only reason why you want to compete, you should never ever 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 fucking step on stage in your life, because you will ruin your fucking mindset. You'll probably get depressed, and you will hate gym culture, and or just being healthy, or making sure your body looks a certain way. You'll hate it all. You'll throw away the whole entire project, and that's what I don't want for you. All right, I want the people that really love competing to compete. I want the people that don't really love competing, like and just keep it at that. Stay being healthy and competing, natural or not, isn't even healthy, because you're depleting yourself and your micronutrients, your water levels, your fat, even your muscle, because you're gonna go catabolic inevitably to a really low level, and it fucks with your hormones. And as I said, natural or not, it's competing isn't healthy. So to want to do it, and to be successful in it, and to just do it in general, like what I said before, has to transcend. Like, you have to be willing to do this shit for free. You have to be willing to do this shit if nobody even fucking noticed. If you had to wear a sweater every day to the gym, if no one even knew you look the way that you look, you have to be willing to do it. And once you can understand that, you'll understand the true value of competing, not just within bodybuilding, but any sport. Because if you're doing it just for vanity, just for attention, just for money, when you don't get those rewards, you're just not going to want to do that thing anymore. But if you do this shit because you fucking love it, as I tell all my people, you will see me bury myself with 2 40-pound dumbbells. 2. Because I remember the day that I could curl 40 pounds, it made me feel like a god. I was like fucking, I don't know, 15, 14, or 13. I don't remember. But the first day I was able to do that, I remember, yep, I'm never going to stop this shit. So bury me with 2 40-pound dumbbells. And that's how I feel about fitness. I will do this shit for free. This podcast episode's free. Anything regarding fitness, I'm just going to do it forever. I think I was put on this earth to just be a model for that. To show people what is possible naturally, do that, maybe even exceed it, definitely exceed it. Tooting my own horn here, but it's true. And again, just live that way. Like, this is the life I live. If I didn't have Meathead on the Mic podcast, if Instagram wasn't real, TikTok didn't exist, Facebook wasn't there, YouTube didn't fucking exist, I would still be going to the gym competing. I would still be healthy the way that I am. I would still be doing like all the things that I'm doing now without y'all fucking looking. Why? Because I love this shit, and that's why I compete. Okay, so if you don't love this shit, and if you have to get paid or have to get noticed to do this shit, really consider if you even want to compete, or if you think you want to compete based off of what's trendy. All right. Hope this episode is able to give you the information you needed to sort of come to your own conclusion. That's all I want. You come to your own conclusion. Don't just listen to what I'm saying and then like make that your opinion. So I hope this hit every single corner. You're able to really think about it. All right. So that's it. That's all. If you like this episode, share it with a friend that you know wants to compete. If you need help and you've never competed in your life, okay, and you want to compete in a natural show, hit up your boy, DM me, shoot me a message. I'll see if I can help you out. I'll be honest with you. If you don't have the genetics for it, or whatever specific division that you want to go into, I'm gonna break it down for you. There's no need to lie to you, because you're gonna go on stage anyway, and you're gonna get fucked if you, if I lie, or if you lie to yourself. So definitely, if that's something you want to do in the coming year, you want to challenge yourself in 2023 and get on stage, and you notice that you'll do this shit for free anyway, hit me up. I'll see if I can help you out. All right. Let's embrace our inner meathead together. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB PRO Matt Butale signing out. Boom. All right, folks. I really like that episode. I haven't ever talked about competing, I think, in the Meathead on the Mic podcast. Or at least in your perspective. Maybe once or twice, but it was like before episode 100. So we're almost at episode 200. We're 172 today. So it's been a while. I'm gonna look at some of the comments here quickly, and then I'm gonna teleport, because unfortunately I'll be going to a funeral, and then right after that a vigil. So it's a lot of death we're dealing with today, but we move, bro. We move. I would let you tie me up. That's crazy. Just like Felicia Harmonica, Kevin Hart right along. I don't get it, bro. I don't understand. Jesus. What do you recommend to gain muscle and fat? First of all, bro, you don't want to be gaining fat. But to gain muscle, you want to eat at least 1 gram per pound of protein a day, train like God is watching you, and stay fucking hydrated. Better yet, also add some creatine in there, because that biovolumizes the muscle and you'll be able to grow more of it. Increase ATP, training harder, again, like God is watching you. It just works that way. But don't focus on building fat or gaining fat or like weight in general, where you have to hit a certain weight, unless you're like competing. And even then, yeah, I mean, if you were already doing that as a competitor, you know what differences you have to make in order to get to where you need to go with a certain weight. So, but if you have any more questions, Revs_X, shoot up your boy. I'm here. Appreciate the follow, Revs. Mohammed, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Rev says, I appreciate it. I weigh 140 LOL and not competing. Yeah, man, you got years to go. Years to go. I was about fuck now. Was it this is 2013. So okay, 13. Maybe about 9, 10 years ago, I was about 140 pounds. Okay, so like you got like at least 10 years of proper lift. Actually, I didn't even lift properly and eat properly for the last 10 years. I would say if you really laid it down, you had a proper structure within the next like 4 to 6 years of just being on the money, like just diligent with it, you could really put on a serious amount of tissue. And understanding you're 140, you're probably really young too. So if you can get those puberty gains, those newbie gains, then definitely milk that. That's from me to you, bro. I appreciate you for tuning in though, and just actually engaging. Joel, what's good? Tyson, what's up? Anthony, Dre Day, what's up? What's good? Alyssa, I think is that how you pronounce it? Yash, what's good? Big guns, I see you, bro. It's been a bit. Ishmael, what's up? Fabio, Maddie, boy, I see you, McLift. Simran, thank you for joining. Ryan, I appreciate you for tuning in. Hell yeah. All right, people. All right, folks. Oh, we got some likes there on I think it's Facebook. Let's see here. All right, cool. That's it. That's all. If you like this episode, again, share it out with a friend. Hope y'all have the best motherfucking Thursday.